Hey, hi again. Do you realize, hats, I like hats, you know that. And this is one I can wear this time of the year. I can go through Target or the grocery store and people just smile and wish me happy holidays. But do you realize most people don't know that if you wear the ball on this side, it means that you're married. But if you wear it on this side, it means that you're single, just like a flower behind the ear in Hawaii. Did you know that? I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I like this hat. It's very comfortable, very warm, very fluffy. This is another one of those videos that I felt compelled to make. I'm really kind of a private person, so these are difficult to do. But I've noticed that some of the videos that I've made where I talk about challenges in my own life, a lot of other people can relate to, and this, I think, is a big one. Let me start by telling you my own story and then a little background into what, it's all about. Many years ago, in the mid-1980s, the last millennium, many years ago, I was finishing up a doctoral degree. I had a major dissertation that took me about 2 years to write. That's not uncommon. I had comp exams that I was studying for, these 8 hours of examinations, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon, answering I think it was 5 questions. Boy, they better be good. I was finishing the doctorate. I had 2 small kids in the house. And anyway, I was struggling. I didn't know what I was going to do after I finished the degree. And I had those little kids to take care of and feed. And it probably was around the holidays, which can be an incredibly stressful time for people. But anyway, the point is that I was at a very trying time. My mother had just died. Did I mention that at the same time? And so I had a lot on my mind, but I was so consumed with study and everything that I didn't give my brain time to just stop and relax and calm down. And the first indication that I was in trouble was I was watching television with the family one night. I was sitting in a reclining chair. I had the recliner footrest up and my feet were out in front of me. And I started to get short of breath. And I looked down and my feet looked like they were 1,000,000 miles away, way down there somewhere. And I looked on the floor where my kids were sitting watching television and I got angry. I got mad that they put a burden on me. Now I got to feed them. I got to clothe them. I got to buy them presents. I love my children. Oh, did I love my children? But in that moment, for the first time, I resented the burden they had placed on me. That night, I went to bed. Was lying in bed. My heart began to hurt. Chest pain. I thought I was having a heart attack. I got up, drove myself to an emergency room, and they checked me over. Couldn't find anything wrong. I thought, well, I'm just under a lot of pressure. I had a few days where I was short of breath, and I get all pumped up about something and just feel like I was surrounded and consumed and the world was crashing. I don't remember, that's horrible. And then I went to see this doctor. And after I got the doctor's report back, and by the way, I was working a job at the university at the same time. I was a counselor in the largest college on campus there at the University of Arizona while finishing my doctoral degree. And I went to see a doctor there at the university. And when he gave me a slip after my appointment and I took it home, I read on that slip he had written, mild anxiety. I have anxiety? I went to a friend of mine who worked in the counseling office. He was a counselor just like I was, but very experienced. His name was Paul Harlos. If you cross paths with Paul Harlos, and I think he lives somewhere in Minnesota or Wisconsin now or something, if you cross paths with him, you're blessed because Paul is a very special guy. And I sat privately with Paul and I explained all of it to him, just as I've explained it to you. And the anxiety and building up inside of me. And I was not feeling well and I was depressed. And all this was going on. And Paul gave me a book on counseling techniques. And in there were some ideas about how to meditate to be able to lower your anxiety. And I found a simple solution. Now, I should tell you, before this happened, I would have these, and they're known as panic attacks. Just these explosions. I wanted to climb out of my head, and they were so, not physically painful, but they were so painful that all the operations I'd had, the broken bones that I'd had, all of that was not as painful as what was going on up here. That hurt. That scared me. I even explained to someone that the only solution I could imagine was just to put myself out of my misery, because I couldn't turn my brain off, and it hurt. Oh, gosh, did it hurt. I was scared, really scared about what all this meant, but I went to see Paul. Oh, and the other thing is I tried to find things that would help turn my mind off. I listened to music. That was worse, just made it worse. Except for country western music, oddly enough. It didn't make me feel better, but it didn't make me feel worse. And I discovered later, I think it was because of the ballads, the soulful stories, I could relate to. I sat outside in the rain once because I love rain. I thought, so calming, music and rain. None of it worked. I only hurt worse. And this went on for about 8 months, painful. But I went to see Paul Harlos, and he gave me this book, and I read in there about a meditation technique. Simple, very simple. All you do, listen carefully, because this can save your life. I believe it saved mine. I would not have been able to go on much longer in that pain. So you sit for about 15 minutes, quietly, alone. I put my chair on the back porch. Breathe in, and in your brain you think 1. You breathe out, and you think 2. Breathe in. You think, you don't have to say it out loud. 1. You breathe out. 2. That's all there was to it. 15 minutes. I set my watch, 15 minutes. I did that 3 times a day. After the first day, after 3 sessions like that in the first day, I felt just the smallest tiny bit better. But I had had no relief for about 8 months. Next day, same thing. There are different theories about why this works, but for me, and maybe not for everybody, for me, it worked. Every day, I came back a little further off the cliff. The darkness kind of cleared around me. I had more light. After I had done the sessions for about a month and a half, about 6 weeks, every day, I felt pretty good. I stopped doing the meditation. I had a couple moments after that in the months following that I'd feel something coming on. I took a trip in the car and went up to Colorado, and I was coming out of that trip going south headed towards Raton in Colorado. I'll never forget it. And it was early in the morning. My family was asleep, the kids in the back, my wife next to me asleep, and one came on. I felt it. Oh, geez, there it is. Oh, it hurts so much. Again, not physical pain, mental. There was another time in those months following the stoppage of the meditations that I got on a plane for the first time. And I was scared. They closed that door. They shut that door. I realized I couldn't get up and run. I made it through the plane flight just fine, but I went back to doing the meditation again, and it helped. Now, I haven't had one of those attacks in years. It feels so good not to, but I know I can go back to that if I have to, and just knowing I can find the relief is important. Anxiety, depression, and panic attacks are all related. When you're in that period of depression and experiencing those panic attacks, your chest hurts, shortness of breath, I think is what causes that. You don't sleep well. You're restless, irritable. You're tired all the time. You have difficulty concentrating. You worry. You have guilt. You may even tear up and cry. And other people are confused because they don't know what's going on. When I tried to explain what was happening to my own family, they were like, go get a pill. They really were. They didn't understand. They were scared, and I understand that. Paul Harlos, in his little book and the little meditation technique, saved me. I mean, it really saved me. So I don't think it matters whether you're just having some anxiety or you're experiencing a little depression. And by the way, the experts say anxiety and depression often go together. About 50% of the people who experience one or the other, depression or anxiety, will experience the other. Anxiety, depression, and the worst thing, panic attacks, where you just want to go outside and scream at the top of your lungs, and everybody around you is pretty certain you're going crazy. Try that little exercise. Give it a try. It might help you. The holidays, by the way, if you haven't already heard this, the holidays can be an incredibly stressful time. So if you need a little edge, a little help, try this meditation technique. And if you know Paul Harlos, thank him for me, would you please? All right. Take care. Happy holidays. May the reindeer just trample your roof.